So I think we had begun na tukasema budget profit. Budget profit was how much? What did we record as budget profit? 1120,000. 1120,000. Then tukasema adjustments for variances. Adjustments for variances. Adjustments for variances. We began with sales price. We said the formula is budget selling price minus actual selling price multiplied by actual sales units. And we got a variance of how much? 160,000, which was favorable or adverse. Huh? Is positive or negative? It's negative. So if it's negative, that is favorable. Is favorable because that means the actual selling price was higher. Higher. That's why we stopped. Okay, then the next one now is sales volume. Sales volume. Now, sales volume is supposed to be given as budget sales units minus actual sales units. You multiply by standard contribution margin. Budget sales units minus actual sales units. You multiply by standard contribution margin. Sasa, according to our budget, we know we were to sell 4,000 units. And we ended up selling 3,200. 3,200. And the standard contribution margin, unarudi hapo juu. Ukirudi pale juu, you take the selling price of 2,200, you subtract the variable cost. You take the selling price, borrow, maybe you computed wrongly. You computed wrongly, that is too high a figure to be true. And this is what we had said. The budget selling price was 2,200 minus the actual budget price was 7,200,000. You divide by the units sold, 3,200. You multiply by 3,200. So most likely you just canceled this and this, and you forgot to, yeah. Can you confirm that, Boro? Meanwhile, give me this, the standard contribution margin. Unakuja ngapi? I was saying 2,200, you minus 800, you minus 320, you minus 160. Those are the three variable costs. 2,200, you minus 800, you minus 320, you minus 160. It is 920. That's the contribution margin. Boro, have you confirmed this one? 736. 736. Favorable or adverse? In favorable or money adverse? It is adverse. It is adverse because we sold fewer units. We got to my budget kuuza 4,000 and we ended up selling fewer. So it's adverse. Haya, huyo mwingine ni material costs. Material costs. As you know, material cost, we said it is standard material cost minus actual material cost. Standard material costs minus actual material costs. That's the formula. And this one I think we computed na tukasema standard unaenda hapo juu, you realize that one unit was supposed to take 800. 800, that is the material cost hapo kwa standard. Then you multiply by the actual units that were produced, 3,600. 3,600, those are the units that were produced. Then you minus the actual material cost. The actual material cost, ukiteremka hapo chini kwa actual results, unapata kuna 2,800,000. Kuna 2,800,000. That gives us 8,000. Just 8. Okay, 8,000. Is it favorable or adverse? Positive or negative? Positive. So if it is positive, the kumaanisha actual material cost was smaller. So kama it was smaller, that is favorable. If the actual material cost ilikuwa dogo, that is good news. Huyo mwingine ni labor costs. Now labor cost is standard labor costs minus actual labor costs. Standard labor costs minus actual labor costs. Minus actual labor costs. So sasa hii nayo, what you do, ukinakibia hapo juu kwa standard card, unapata one unit was supposed to cost 320 for the labor. Hapo juu is 320. Now this one you multiply by the actual unit produced. The actual unit produced 3,600. Then you subtract the actual labor cost. Ukiteremka hapo chini, the actual labor cost is 1,120,000. 1,120,000. 1,120,000. That gives us how much? Umepata gapi? That's 2,000. Favorable or adverse? Favorable. By now you should be able to interpret these variances. Complete mingi sana. Haya. Tuende kwa variable overheads. Variable overheads. Now variable overheads, it is standard variable overheads minus actual variable overheads. Standard variable overheads minus actual variable overheads. So sasa the standard ukienda hapo juu unapata it was 160. And the units are 3,600. You minus the actual. Ukiteremka hapo chini, unapata actual was 600,000. So how much is that? $24,000. Favorable or adverse? Adverse, negative, eh? Okay, adverse. Aya, huyo mwingine is fixed overheads. When it comes to fixed overheads, there are two variances that we bring. Ya kwanza ni expenditure. So expenditure we know is budget fixed overheads minus actual fixed overheads. Expenditure is budget fixed overheads minus actual fixed overheads. So the budget is just like what we argued the other day, that it is 640 times the 4,000 units that were budgeted. You minus the actual fixed overheads, then you now have a chini, which is 1,960,000. $960,000. So that gives us 344,000. Favorable or adverse? It's positive. So if it's positive, that means it's favorable. The actual was smaller. The 600,000. Favorable. Okay. 600,000 favorable. Haya. Sasa huyo mwingine anaitwa volume. Now, volume is computed as budget output units minus actual output units. Budget output units minus actual output units. And this one, you multiply by budget fixed overheads per unit. Budget fixed overheads per unit. Budget fixed overheads per unit. The budget output was 4,000 units, and the actual output was 3,600. And then the budget fixed overheads cost per unit, we know so well, it was 640. That is 256,000. 256,000. This is the number advance. The advance. Now, in for the purposes of there are two issues here. The first issue is this volume, you only bring it to the reconciliation statement kama kuna stock, kama kuna closing stock, ama opening stock. If everything that was produced was sold, you don't compute this one. That's the first thing. The second thing is, when we are in normal operations, this one is interpreted as advance. But for the purposes of reconciliation, it is interpreted as favorable. Because this is about money. Remember, we are reconciling money. That's why even this one changed. So now this is not how we compute when we are in operations. But because reconciliation is more of money factor, is cash dominated, then this one now is taken to be favorable. Because we spend less. Yeah. So with that now, we should be able to get our actual profit. We should be able to get our actual profit. And the actual profit, ukiangalia kwa hiyo statement, we are given it is 1,488,480. So this is how you reconcile. In the reconciliation, you take the budget profit, you add the favorables, you less the adverse. It will give you the actual profit. That's how you do the reconciliation. Take the budget profits, add the favorable variances, less the adverse. They should take you back to check whether they are reconciled. They agreed? Okay. I want to allow a similar space. Similar space yenye imechukua hiyo reconciliation statement. Hiyo space utatumia kujibu November 2015 question 5B. Utatumia kujibu November 2015 question 5B. Pima hiyo space hiyo utajifanyia. I'm looking for another one that maybe we can do together here now. I hope I get one. Yes, so let's now go to this one of December 2014, question 5. December 2014, question 5. Shaacha hiyo space. Ya hii swali. Now tuende kwa December 2014. Tunasema ni December 2014 question 5. And we are drawing a reconciliation statement. For the interest of my space, nataka nipange hivyo. Naweza panga tu hivyo. Now, in that question, there is nothing much to read. We will be pointing out what is necessary. But the key points, as you can see, there is the standard cost card. You can see that. Can you see that? Then, below that, there is the budget data for the 10,000 units. Alafu kwa additional information number 3, you can see the actual results. You can see the actual results. So if you can see the actual results, then we are told to start with the reconciliation or to do the reconciliation and get 20 marks. So as I told you last time, the format remains. So the first thing to bring is therefore budget profit. So the budget profit, Now for the budget profit, it is already provided. If you look at information, rather the statement for the budget profit is given as how much? Yeah. Are we looking at the same question? We are looking at the same question where there is the budget profit is given as how much? 800,000. Yes. So here, narrator to hapa, that one does not have any working. Is that so? Can you? Yeah. Then you bring variances. So the variances, the first one is sales price. Now, regarding sales price, the formula we know is budget selling price minus actual selling price. You multiply by actual sales units. It's budget selling price minus actual selling price. You multiply by actual sales units. Sasa, ukiangalia huko juu kwa budget, you can see the selling price was supposed to be how much? 880. That is the selling price. And ukiteremuka hapo kwa actual results, each unit ended up being sold at 900. And still in those actual results, how many units were sold? 9,000. 9,000. So how much is that? Huh? 180,000. Is it favorable or adverse? It is. It is favorable because we ended up selling at a higher price. It is favorable. Huyo mwingine unaleta ni sales volume. Sales volume. So sales volume, the formula is budget sales units minus actual sales units. You multiply by standard contribution margin. Standard contribution margin. According to the budget, hapo juu, sales were supposed to be how many units? 10,000 units. And according to the actual results down there, we ended up selling how many? 9,000. Alafu ukikibia hapo juu kwa the standard card. On the standard card, you will establish that standard contribution margin was how much? 200. Standard contribution margin was 200. So that gives us a variance of 200,000. Now, is that favorable or adverse? It's adverse. It's adverse because we sold fewer units. It's adverse because we sold fewer units. Huyo mwingine ni material costs. Material costs. Now, when it comes to material cost, we know the formula is standard material costs minus actual material costs. Actual material costs minus, rather, standard material costs minus, and when you go checking, you notice there are two materials. You can either combine or you can separate them. When I go to the first one, I want to separate them. When I go to material A, ukikibia hapo juu kwa standard card, 1 unit was supposed to cost us how much as far as material A was concerned? This 200. So it is supposed to be 200 times the actual number of units that were produced. Kibia kwa information number 5. Information number 5, how many units were actually produced? It is 9,000. 9,000. Then you minus the actual material A cost. Ukienda hapo kwa actual materials, the actual results, unapata material A ended up costing how much? 2,090,000. 2,090,000. $2,090,000. So that gives us a variance of $290,000. Is it favorable or adverse? Negative or positive? So if it's negative, that is adverse. That means the actual material was more. The actual cost was more. Higher. Tuende kwa material B, which was costing us 150 times 9,000 is 150 times 9,000. Alafu ukikibia hapo kwa actual results, unapata it took 1,414,000. 1,414,000. So that translates to 64,000. Favorable or adverse? Adverse. The next one is riba. The next one is riba. The next one is riba. There is no space in between. I'm only appearing to give the space because of some reflections that I can see. So tunaendelea tu kawaida. So for riba, it is standard riba costs minus actual riba costs. Standard riba costs minus actual riba costs. So unakimbia hapo uko juu kwa standard card. Na ukifika hapo unapata that 1 unit was supposed to cost us how much for riba? 270. You multiply by the actual unit produced, 9,000. 9,000. Alafu unakimbia hapo chini kwa the actual results, unapata that it was 2,736,000. 2,736,000. And that gives us 306,000. 306,000. Favorable or adverse? Adverse. Which negative, eh? Now you should be able to pick. Then the variable overheads. All I just write overheads. Overhead costs. You nianze na variable. Now for the variable, it is standard variable overheads minus actual variable overheads. Standard variable overheads, you minus the actual variable overheads. And the standard ukikibia hapo juu unapata it is 60 times 9,000. 60 times 9,000. Alafu the actual results uko chini it is 520,000. That gives us 20,000. Favorable or adverse? Favorable. Then twende kwa fixed. Now in the fixed, I've told you we have two types that we bring. Ya kwanza inaitwa expenditure. Kwanza inaitwa expenditure. And expenditure, it is given as what? Budget fixed overheads minus actual fixed overheads. Budget fixed overheads minus actual fixed overheads. The budget fixed overheads is like this. Ukiangalia kwa information 1, pia kwa information 1. Inasema the annual fixed overheads were 14,400,000 and they are assumed to be incurred evenly. So you are supposed to take these 14,400,000. And then that is for how long? That is for how long? 1 year. But ukiangalia hapo kwa budget, our budget was for a period of how long? It was for 1 month. It was for the month of September. So this one, because we are told they are incurred evenly, you will then have to divide by what? By 12. You do it for 1 month. It is how much? Then you subtract the actual. Ukiteremuka kwa the actual results, utapata the fixed ni 1,160,000. 1,160,000. $40,000. Favorable or adverse? Positive, eh? So it's favorable. Now the other one, which we have called volume, I have told you it is only computed if there are what? If there are stocks. If there are stocks. So do you think this question has stocks? According to information 5. Do we have stocks? Yes or no? No. So if there are no stocks, you don't compute the volume. You don't compute. And you should not write it and tell us it is 0. No. Because it is not 0. It's only that it is not supposed to be brought in the reconciliation statement. So you just don't bring it. And in that case now, you bring the actual profit. So the actual profit, I told you, if it is not given, you simply get the actual revenues, you minus the actual costs. But now in this case, they have given us an amount of how much? An amount of 180,000. An amount of 180,000. So now do what I have told you, that you take the budget profit, you add the favorables, you less the adverse, and that should give you the actual profit. You take the budget profit, you add the favorables, are they agree? Yeah. That is how it is supposed to be handled. Most of the questions you get on variances, they will be about reconciliation, but once in a while they can ask you to break them down, but unless they have said so clearly, you break them down. And I told you, this format you can cram it. Just cram it. Haya, kutoka hapo, let's now look at investigation of variances. Investigation of variances. Investigation of variances. Investigation of variances. And write this. This refers to the actions taken to establish the reasons as to why variances occurred. The reasons as to why variances occurred. First of all, there are many causes of variances. There are many causes of variances. But they are broadly grouped into four. Grouped into four. Number one, measurement errors. Number two, use of outdated standards. Number three, out of control operations. And number four is random or non-controllable factors. Now, if you remember our discussion, something like materials, tulianza na kusema it is divided, we have the total, which is broken down into two. We had the price here, and we had what? The usage. Then this one was broken down into two. This one was called mix, and this one was called what? Yield. And I told you this diagram is twofold. The importances are twofold. One, it can help you to reconcile. Once you compute your variances, you add back, unajua kama you are correct or not correct. The second reason of this diagram is to show you the reasons why this variance has happened. So kama umegundua there is a difference in your material cost, most likely imeletwa na change in price ama imeletwa na quantity or change in both. Kama umegundua kuna change in the quantity you have used, most likely imeletwa na change in the mix, how you mixed your components, your ingredients, or the yield, the productivity of the components, or both. And what brought this change in price? What brought the change in usage, and many others? So when you start now asking those questions, you realize there are so many reasons. There are so many reasons that you can come across. For example, change in price, maybe economic situations, maybe demand supply factors, maybe you did not negotiate vizuri, maybe you ulidanganywa. There is a lot of reasons as to why price could have changed, usage could have changed. If you look at something like usage, maybe wale watu ulileta wakufanyie kazi hawajui kutumia materials, so there was a lot of what? Wastages, ama maybe wengine walikuibia hizo materials, wanasema zilitumika na hazikutumika. Maybe it was a poor quality material that was easily breaking. All those factors can speak to the change in usage. But now all of them, we classify them into 4. One is measurement errors. Measurement errors is simply where tumetuma mtu akachukue records. But instead of taking the records correctly, amefanya makosa. So we have used 42 kilograms, but the guy comes telling us, for example, they were 24. That causes the variance in the analysis. The other reason is use of outdated standards. In our discussion, we have been talking of standards. Now, these standards, if you remember our discussion on something we called running curves. One of the applications of running curve method is the determination of labor standards. How do we come to say that 1 unit is taking us 3 hours or 1 unit is taking us 4 kilos? Those are standards. And as you can remember, the standards keep on improving as the worker does more and more units, but not forever. Kuna mahali inafika, mtu akianza kuchoka, you start now taking more time. All variables have changed, and there are many reasons why people change. Even factors beyond control of the organization. With age, people get married, watu wanapata watoto, watu wanangojeka, mambo ya siasa, mambo ya climate, all those things can speak to the productivity of an individual. All those things. So when they come in, the standard will have changed such that mtu alikuwa anatumia 2 hours to complete the job is now using 1 hour to complete the job, kama an improvement, or is now using 4 hours to complete the same job. So change your standards. The other thing is out of control operations. This is where we have noted that our system is out of control, but we are doing nothing to stop it. More so when, and I'll be discussing that for various reasons. Let me not get into that now. But my point is, you are well aware your system has gone out of control, but you are doing nothing to restore it back. The other one is what we call random or uncontrollable factors. These are factors which are beyond control of the organization. Like last week, we had the holiday, the Al-Had. Now that holiday, it was beyond us. As a school, we could not come and make a pronouncement. Sisi hatutakui hiyo holiday, masomo itaendelea. Actually, for my class, I was only able to hold the class because none of you is of Muslim faith. Otherwise, where we had people from Muslim faith, you could not hold what? Classes, because it's a holiday and it's beyond you. So if there was any variance, kama kuna watu sasa walibaki nyuma, that was caused by random or uncontrollable factors. Then down there to Andrea and we write that the following factors should be considered when deciding on whether to investigate or not. Should be considered when deciding on whether to investigate or not. So we'll just list them. And number 1 is the costs. Costs. Number 2, benefits. Benefits. Number 3 is the size of the variance. Another one is the type of the variance. Another one is past patterns. Another one is reliability of the budget figures. Another one is trade, etc. There's an Arab that is crying. Is it here? Okay. So those are some of the factors that we need to consider. The most important are the first 2. you must know what are the cost implications. Nikianza kuchunguza, what are the costs? Then nikishachunguza na nijue what was the reason, what do I start to benefit? It's called cost benefit analysis. But other factors that you need to bring on board would include trade. Trade ni part imekuwa namna gani? Ndio nasikianga hata watu in the normal relationships mtu akisema sasa umenizoea. So kama mtu anakuambia umemzoea ni kuonyesha hiyo pattern imekuwa ikiendelea na now we are fed up with it. The other thing closely related to that is past pattern. Huyu mtu amekuwa namna gani? Have they been reporting favorables but all of a sudden now wameanza report what? Adverse or vice versa, or they have been not having any variance but all of a sudden we start experiencing what? Variances. That's something that should be considered. The other one is the issue of size. You find that practically most people tend to investigate the big variances and they ignore the small variances, but you should investigate all of them. The other one is about the type. Is it adverse? Is it favorable? What most people do is that they will be keen to investigate an adverse, but a favorable one they will not investigate. But you need to investigate both, because when you discover, for example, the favorable, you will come up with ways of supporting it to be even bigger. Kama ni favorable variance, you support it to be even bigger. Lakini kama ni adverse, you suppress it to decrease or to disappear. Then down there we write that variance investigation is done. Variance investigation is done using three methods. Using three methods. Number one is called simple rule of thumb. Rule of thumb. Simple rule of thumb. Number two, inaitwa statistical models. Statistical models. And number three, inaitwa statistical decisions. Those are the three methods that we use to do the investigations. So let's start with the first one. Simple rule of thumb method. Simple rule of thumb method. Simple rule of thumb method. And we write that this is based on arbitrary criteria. This is based on arbitrary criteria. Arbitrary criteria of investigating variances. Of investigating variances. If the absolute size is greater than a certain amount. Is greater than a certain amount. It's greater than a certain amount. Stop. The method is simple to understand and use. The method is simple to understand and use. However, it has two main problems. However, it has two main problems. One, it does not consider costs and benefits. It does not consider costs and benefits. Number two, it does not consider statistical significance of the variances. Does not consider statistical significance of the variances. So here it is as simple as that. And what happens when unaamuka asubuhi moja unasema hapa kwangu the mean usage is 10 kilos. Tuseme ni kitu kama material. How you arrive at the 10, no one knows. You cannot justify. It's arbitrary. Alafu unasema if the mean usage is 10 kilos, I only allow variances of 3 kilos. So ukienda sana utumie 13. Ukishuka sana utumie 7. So any variance or any usage that is between 7 and 13, it will not be investigated. But mwenye ametumia anything less than 7, it should be investigated. Na mwenye ametumia more than 13 should also be investigated. You see, it's not everyone who uses smaller quantity or lesser time that should be praised or that is doing well. Kama sasa hii nikuja hii class yenu within 1 month niwaambie syllabus imeisha. You see, now that raises concerns. How do you finish the syllabus? You know, like I see, like now I'm seeing guys advertising 1 month crash program, full coverage of the syllabus. How do you cover the whole syllabus within 1 month? Equally, siwezi hata kuambia saa hii venye tumekuwa tukisoma we only have done 20%. So kama unataka kufanya mtihani labda ufanye December because itamaliza syllabus around November. Again, that is too much. So we must have a range. Now, how do we set this is the minimum, this is the maximum? So hii inasema arbitrary. You have no mathematical rule, you have no any criteria. Wewe unaamuka tu naangalia juu ama chini, wherever you tell us your figures. Let's go to the next method. The next method is statistical models. Statistical models. And write that. Just a minute. So Mr. Afura says you will have a class tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We'll have a class tomorrow, AFM, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Good. So today now. And we say these are based on mathematical methods. These are based on mathematical methods. Which are used to establish the average and limits, of investigations, the average and limits of investigations. Specifically, The methods are based on normal probability distribution. The methods are based on normal probability distribution. Normal probability distribution. Normal probability distribution, and have two mutually exclusive assumptions. And have two mutually exclusive assumptions. One, the system is in control. The system is in control. The system is in control, and any variance noted, is due to random variables. And any variance noted is due to random variables. The second assumption is the system is actually out of control. The system is actually out of control. But a corrective action can be taken. But a corrective action can be taken. Okay, then down there we write that once specific observations and their probabilities are established, once specific observations and their probabilities are established, a diagram known as statistical quality control chart. Statistical quality control chart is drawn. Diagram known as statistical quality control chart is drawn. Yeah, that one is as simple as that. And we are saying it is based on mathematical methods. So these mathematical methods, we use them to establish what is the average. Like now what I was saying, 10. And what are the limits? The 7 and the 13. As in, this is how I arrived at my 10. This is how I'm arriving at my 7. And this is how I'm arriving at my 13. Then we rely on the properties of normal probability distribution, whereby we make two assumptions. One is kama kumeonekana ile variance, the system is in control, but that variance is as a result of a factor that is beyond control. Actually, any item that is because of random factors, we do not investigate. Ukikumbuka what you were doing when you were computing those variances, hii side tulikuwa tunaweka price, na price haikuwa inatembea downwards. Hii side nyingine ndio ilikuwa inateremka. Because price, you can only take note, but you cannot do anything about it. You can only take note because prices are influenced by factors beyond the organization. So we take note that our system is out of control, but the reason is factors that are beyond control. Like what I have just said, last Tuesday we lost some classes. So we just take note of that, but it's beyond our control. Or I can take note, some of you have come to this class late. Why? Maybe there were factors that were beyond control. So I can only take note. Lakini, I cannot maybe be able to say, lazima ukuange unafika hapa by this time. Because there are factors that are beyond control. The other reason is where, or the other assumption is where we have noted that our system is out of control, but a corrective action can be taken. Maybe nikichunguza this variance, it is something I can be able to adjust. Then I just adjust. Now, once you have the values and the probabilities, you draw a diagram known as statistical quality control chart, and that is what I want us to do now. Twende kwa ile maswali ya the illustration questions. So, if you can access your online, I've sent there. But after this, you will get a copy. Question number 5 sasa. Na hiyo question number 5, hiyo maneno yote tumepewa hapo. Sika nitasoma yote. Yongo, quickly soma hizo paragraphs. Some.
These aircraft are one, 2, and 3. The standard quantity of fuel used on each road trip over this 12-month period has a mean of 100 kL and a standard deviation of 10 kL. James II, the operations manager of Sky Unlimited, uses a statistical quality control approach in deciding whether to investigate the variance from standard fuel usage per round-trip flight. He investigates all those flights with fuel usage greater than 2 standard deviations from the mean. In addition, James II monitors trends in S chart to determine if additional investigation decisions should be made. James II received the following reports for round-trip fuel usage for the month of May 2021. For the pilots of the 3 planes operating on the Nairobi-Mogadishu routes required, using the +2 standard deviation rule, indicate the various investigation decisions which should be made. B. Present the SQC charts for the round trip fuel usage by each of the 3 aircraft, and what inferences can be made for the 3 SQC charts developed in the above.
Thank you. That's good. So let's start answering that. So the first thing to Nabiwa is to come up with plus or minus 2 standard deviations. So plus or minus 2 standard deviation in investigation rule. So I've told you this method is based on normal probability distribution. So unachora ile diagram tunajua vizuri sana of the normal probability distribution. Nakaanga namna hii. So chora that way. Alafu from what tumesomewa, we have the mean here. The mean nakuanga hapa. Then we have x1 here, which will be our lower limit, and x2 here, which will be the upper limit. Then standard deviation nawekwa hapa. So from what tumesoma, standard deviation is 10, the mean is 100. And according to this rule of plus or minus 2 standard deviation, this must be 80 and this must be 120. Sasa hapa unasema if anyone is found within here, no investigation. No investigation. And if anyone is found here, then there is investigation. And if you are found here, there is investigation. So hiyo ndio investigation rule. Okay, let me forward the questions. Nemo, check whether you can see them now. Confirm. Nemo, have you seen them? Okay, good. So that is how you set the rule. I think it's very clear. So for the simple rule, again, ilikuwa nimesema hizi figures you have no way to show. But sasa hii unajua kwa normal probability distribution ama kwa statistics, you know we have a formula of getting the mean. We have a formula of getting what? Standard deviation. We have a formula of getting this and the probabilities. But now it's not the day for those things, so I'll not get to those formulas. After sasa umefanya hivyo, the next thing now is to come up with a statistical quality control chart. Statistical quality control chart. So the statistical quality control chart is simply a graph. And what you do, unaangalia those values so that are given there. And you pick the smallest. Hizo values zote zimepeanwa hapo, ikudia pia the smallest. It is 92. And then the highest. The highest is 126. Sasa ukishajua who is the highest and who is the smallest, look here. From the rule yenye tumetengeneza hapo, from the rule yenye tumetengeneza, the lower limit is 80. Now 80 is smaller than hiyo umesema 90 something, yeah? So that means our graph will start at slightly below 80, so that we are able to capture 80, because 80 is part of our rule. Then huku juu imeenda mpaka umesema 126, so we can make it go to around 130. So what we can do, instead of starting exactly at 80, we can begin at 70. And when you are beginning not from 0 or the spaces are different, we say you should break the scale. So huwa tunachora kitu kama hapo. So ukichora hiyo ni kumaanisha the scale is broken. As in, sasa hapa hii space nikiweka hivi. You see, practically hii space kutoka hapa mpaka hapa ndio the same hapa. Lakini sasa hii itakuwa inasimamia 70. Lakini hii haisimamii 70. So you need to show the scale has been broken. If you don't break the scale, diagram yako itakuwa confined somewhere here. Ukianza hapa from 0 hivi utakuwa na diagram hapo hapa, which is wrong. So you just break the scale, unaanzia hapa 70. Then you do a scale that will go to around 130. And then on this side, you do a scale that will go to how many flights? 10. So let's design a graph. And I told you when you're drawing a graph, kama unachora a very small one, is half a page. If you are drawing a very small one, it's half a page. So 70, that is 60. So this is 80. 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. So this is my y-axis. It's my y-axis. What I'm drawing is called statistical quality control chart. Statistical quality control chart. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is x-axis. X-axis. Sasa hapa, these are freights. These are freights. This is fuel usage. Fuel usage. So those lines are coming from the rule that we have just developed up there, the 80 and the 120. Yeah? So this 80, this 120 is the upper limit. It's the upper limit. And this one is the lower limit. It's the lower limit. It's the lower limit. Sasa ukishachora hivyo, you start plotting. You start plotting those values. You start plotting those values. So in plotting, skyline 1 iko na 104. So 104, my 100 is here, 105 is here. So that is 104. Huyo mwingine akona 94. So 95 is here. So 94 should be somewhere here. Huyo mwingine ni 97. Number 3 ikona 97. So 95 ikikuwa hapa, 97 is here. After 97, I have 101. So 101, my 100 is here. So 101 is here. After 101, I have 105. So my 105 is here. There. Huyo mwingine ni 107. So 107 should be somewhere here. Next is 111. My 111 is here. So this is my 110. So 111 is here. Next is 112. 112 is somewhere there. Next is 115. So my 115 is exactly here. And my 119 is here. So those points, I join them with a very free hand. I join them with a very free hand. And then I say this is skyline 1. If you can have different colors for each, the better. Lakini kama uko na moja like myself, still okay. So when I go to skyline, si tunafuata? Hapana. Ya kwanza ni 104. Are all the papers showing 104? The typo is not okay, it's 104. Maybe the type setting was not done well. Hiyo tempo ni kama is not naona hapo kwa style. One ndio unasema ina correspond na 94. Ni typing haifanywa vizuri. Ama type setting sio inaitwa nini. But they are 10. Sawa. They are 10. Haya, hiyo ingine imeanza 103. Hiyo ingine imeanza 103. So my 103 is somewhere here. So now this one I can use stars now that I don't have different colors. Wingine ni 94. So 94 huyo ni hapo. The next one is 96. So kama hii ndio 95, 96 is down here. The next one is 107. 107. So this is 105. So the 7 is here. That's 7. The next one is 92. So 90 is 90 is 60. So 92 is then here. It's there. Then 113. 113, then you go 40. So 13 should be somewhere here. And 13. Hiyo ingine ni 99. Mia iko kwa 50. So 99 is somewhere here. Huyo mwingine ni 106. Hiyo ni 45. Somewhere here. 105, you're 45. So 106 is here. Then 101. 101 is 50. So 101 is here. Then 93. 90 kwa 60. So 93 is here. So you join those points again using a very free hand. And you tell us this is skywriting 2. Tell us that is skywriting 2. Huyo mwingine is skywriting 3 inaanzia 97. So 90 iko hapa. So 97 is somewhere here. Now I can use small circles. Nienda kwa 104. 50. So 104 is somewhere here. Huyo mwingine ni 111. So I have 111 there. Then I have another 104 here. Then I have 122. So 30. So 122 is here. Then I have 118. 118 is here. Then I have 126. 126 is here. Then 114 is here. Then I have 117. 117 is here. And then I have 123. So now I join my points using a very free hand. And this one is skyline 3. Naona time imeisha. Let's make some inferences down there. Inferences, or what you can conclude about those ones. Let's make some inferences. Skyline 1 is within control. Skyline 1 is within control, but precautionary measures need to be taken. But precautionary measures need to be taken. Naona hii Skyline 1, naona iko ndani, haijatoka hapa ama has not exceeded, sio? Lakini hii pattern ukiona venye inaenda hivi, unaona imebaki kidogo tu ipite hapa. So by the time we do 12-14 flights, if this pattern is maintained, that's why we are saying precautionary measures should be taken. Skyline 2 is within control. Skyline 2 is within control. But the inconsistencies should be investigated. The inconsistencies should be investigated. So as you can see here, it is within, but it has so many ups and downs. We need to check. We need to check, especially if there are different persons involved, like where people work in shifts. Napata leo kuna excess, leo kuna deficits. Those ups and downs needs to be investigated. The other thing is Skyline 3 is out of control. Skyline 3 is out of control, and corrective actions should be taken. Skyline 3 is out of control, and corrective actions should be taken. Corrective actions should be taken. Corrective actions should be taken. So I would like you on your own to handle September 2015, question 4C. No. Let me confirm. Not 4C, question 3. September 2015, actually the whole of question 3. Kila kitu chenye inauliza tumesoma. September 2015, question 3. The whole of it. September 2015. September 2015, question 3. So you had that. So thank you so much. We call it a day at that juncture. We hope to pick up from there in the next lesson.
Kuna gani present?
Kesho unafanya sote. Sina photocopy jianda kuandika. Zinataka kuandika kwa sisi. Unaandika. Ama ndio picha la kwa. Sasa kuandika ni naomba la. Sasa hivi mada kuandika. Sasa kuandika ni picha basi. Hiyo ndio neno anasema sisi akisomanga naelewa bwana. Short notes.
Sasa mimi kwa sina photocopy na nikilia tu sasa. As I said, maybe the pen or something.
Depende kiasi kusema kama unaweza
Kuandika kwa msingi kama ndio.
acha tumtegee kitu basi. Lakini sasa kupata pesa ibada kama hapa nao. Chakula kupata pesa ndio
Chaja si hapa meza.
sana.
Boss. Chaja si hapa.
Poa. Asante sana. Akili yangu. Napenda kusema
Bado ya ndio nilala ukiwa
hapa. Please bana. Oh, kuzira masaa sasa za ingia. Ndio tunapanga kucheza. Sasa hiyo. Oh. Kitu bila kama ndo. After now kama ndio bwana kiasilia ndio sexy na
piga hii sasa kwa pamoja. Hii section 6 kwa pamoja.
azifu
Itakuwa sije au kitu sana. Ile tu za audit. Sisi na basi kile tunasikia kwa hiyo pamoja.
na mwalimu ilikuwa sio kwa mwalimu anasema hata hapo na jana buta kuuliza kwa class wale niliwaambia alikuwa tutaenda event ile next week hiyo ni last Tuesday Tuesday kama ni basi ati bana Tuesday ni ilikuwa saa Tuesday ilikuwa saa 2 kwa ile ya maana sasa kama ni basi ndio ni wanasema ninaona na hiyo Android simu. Simu nakwambia unajua huko kufanya huko. Wanafanya niombe simu. Inakuniraiza kwa simu. Na kuna mletea message yake na mletea message yake kwa. Simu nakwambia. Imeshinda ya website. Ya website ninakwambia ni za long process unajua. Inaanza na kuzungumzia select nini. Alafu kimaliza kitu na kupea time kwa mara. unakaa kidogo alafu unaweza download.
Lakini hakuna receipt. Receipt inatumwa kwa hivi.
So you can
Sijui kama hii yangu inatumwa
for time. Ilikuwa rahisi, nilienda tu you want to pay pesa ama visa.
kusema
Si transactions za visa hizi.
unajua wanasema hivyo kwa nini? Because kuna watu pia outside the country.
Unaanza structure kuna Kenya shillings na
Agree.
Hi, Cheke. Poa, kama unarokanga hivi. Nimeshakaa. Kwa hivi.
Anasema ni number 1.
Yeah, mimi ndio number 1 hapa.
Number 1.
Mimi. Sikuwa poa.
Anyway.
Kuna stubborn.
Tension. Tapi ini sudah. Aku nak mengenai. Jadi ini mesti macam faham dan tanggung jawab dan bukan itu mesti. Dia perlu apa sih?
Nani tumaia?
Aku mereka.
Eish.
Ini dah sih untuk apa? Ni kau nak kaya sah apa? Tapi kau nak berdua ni kau biar tu kucing boleh. Space up. Kau nak apa?
Au baita nisumbua nyumbani.
Ini
Mwanzo mimi sikulangi vitu asili na vitu spice.
ni.
Hapo niko na kitu.
Kau mesti.
Hata na skip SG niende nusu.
Konarsanız.
Niko na ugonjwa ya ulcers basi inaitwa gastritis. Unaishia. Gastritis ni patches. Unajua ulcers ni ule.
Yeah.
Gastritis sasa ni patches. Imagine.
Masih ada yang ngomong sekian biasa Nairobi.
Niko na ukanda.
Nanti ngobrol apa mungkin jadi lewat.
Gani? Alikwambia?
Orang apa mungkin jadi. Sudah ngobrol.
Najua siku yako online.
Sudah ngobrol sih. Alikuwa anatupatia kisha ya masomo.
Alipata na combine tu. Mliacha? Mbona?
Ndio sasa ndio section 6 rahisi. Ono ndio zote section 2.
Sindio?
Nilikaa tu chini nikaangalia sekiere. Amaramisha kitu
Au utasikia tumepita na jibu
lazima nabaki huko tena.
Unapata umeshikwa mbili sec 5 na moja sec 6. Sio ndio?
Hata pamoja tu sec 5 na stress. Unashikwa eneo na eneo. Kama zaidi na kufungua kichwa na refresh. Hasa ukirudia ndio hata
Sikujua kama ni drop hiyo sana. Na mlikuwa mshaandikwa.
Unaweza kaa chini kusema hii sasa audit attacks. Ngoja pa.
Asisikie para iko ndio tuseme. Msajuma alikuwa ananiambia para. Wewe siku hizo unafanya kazi.
Mimi nakwambia iko bana. Watu wengi wazima tuko na wani ya kumaliza hiyo syllabus. Watu wengi hata kwa ndani hawa.
Wana like mwenye anafunza kazi yenyewe alikuwa anasema.
Basi labda bora nani kwa section 4.
Really that guy, why is that?
Seriously. Sisi tunaona nani mara tulikuwa very soft drop za mabisi. Tuko na wani ya. Swala la darasa hili fanye pamoja, exam moja, generation next exam. Either
Sasa cheke ukuni chai asubuhi na kunywa.
Chai. Lazima mimi niweke kwa
Bora na swaka hivi. Dan umeamka mapema.
Bwana.
Umekuja the right person class.
Nafaa kuuliza nini mjara. Sasa shule yake.
Nasikia mmekuwa mkihana.
Wenye wawe cheza sana. Haina mnataka inapoketa zaidi. Sasa mnataka kuniumiza tungo wawili. Unaona moto. Unaona moto. Mimi hata siwezi ongea na nyinyi. Hata nilishawasema. Niambia ndani hiyo klasi ya amani. Ndio moja. Anakuja leo. Ya alikuwa kuja lakini
Haizi kuja.
anabebisha. Moja ni hapa. Unaweza kukombea kucho huku na kuja tende hivi tena apotee hizi juu sasa anaenda kuanzia 12 to 4. Sasa kaniambia tu yeye kufikiria. Nimekuja hapo yenye hadi sana. Tena nianze safari ya kurudi nyumbani. Ati niingie klasi ya 7. So which is the easiest. So ndio kwa. Sasa hapo kama yeye. Kama jana tunaongea naye mtoto tunasikia na Mungu chakula ya mtoto sasa hivi. Kisha ndio mtoto bado sasa mtoto ni mdogo hapo 3 months. Unajua sio unamsaidia matoi hapo. Hivi unaiweka hapo. Naingia tu ndani tunafika tu.
Mmekuja wengi wani
Wewe ulikuwa precious nature. Alikuwa
Nimesikia hapo kwa bashu. Ukija nikuuliza sana kwa